Good morning. Welcome to our new day, new Monday. Today is October 23, 2023. And my name is Winifred Webo. Welcoming you to a fresh edition of your breakfast show on television Inside Nigeria. My name is Winifred Webo. And of course, as you can see, we have an array of newspapers on our menu for review this morning. We like to flag up with Nigeria's most influential newspaper on the program, always Leadership. Leadership says it's an exclusive, actually. 3 months after student loan scheme yet to take off. 3 months after student loan scheme yet to take off. And beneath that headline story, we have graphic illustration of the leading story. We have federal government taking another look at the law. We have under the scheme, eligible applicants will receive up to 500,000 or $650 per academic session. And another graphic says as September-October deadline expires, no sign of Nigerian Education Bank application portal still not open, according to students. That's leading story and exclusive to Leadership. 3 months after student loan scheme yet to take up. Above that, we have anxiety as Supreme Court rules on Atiku's motion today. Anxiety as Supreme Court rules on Atiku's motion today, and that particular story is what is leading or trending on other newspaper cover. We'll get to that subsequently. We have a business story. Despite subsidy removal, oil revenue drops by 1.01 trillion naira in July. Despite subsidy removal, oil revenue drops by 1.01 trillion naira in July. Above the masthead, we have Pandora's box, evidence of how Bello Matawale blew billions in cargo airports, according to Zamfara government. You wouldn't want to miss this. Just log on to the website of Leadership, www.leadership.ng, for continuation of these exclusive stories on Leadership today. And from that cover, we have our stand. Our stand is on page 3, always on Leadership. Our stand today is on as Olokoyede takes over at EFCC. Of course, we have a new herdsman at EFCC now, just confirmed by the National Assembly. For more on this, you want to find out what makes the new herdsman tick as you read our stand on page 3. From that page 3, we move over to the back page of the paper. We have Monday column with Dakuku Side. He's writing on epidemic of illicit arms. Epidemic of illicit arms. For more on these headline stories and our stand, log on to the website of Leadership, www.leadership.ng. From Leadership, another paper with exclusive is The Guardian. Guardian says at 1,200 naira to $985 naira per liter, fuel spike squeezes air travel pricing. The Guardian's leading story at 1,200 to $985 naira per liter fuel spike squeezes air travel pricing. And of course, usually also on Guardian, they have graphics display to illustrate the headline story. At 1,200 naira to $985 naira to a liter, fuel spike squeezes air travel pricing. We have Wike clarifies meeting with Israeli envoy as Pandev INC knock Gumi. NSAS Falana asks minister to review plan on 500 million naira fine for convicts. Rethink palliative, step up productive engagement. That is the editorial on The Guardian. It continues on page 12 of the paper. Coalition resorts to protest. Lawsuit to stop purchase of 57 billion naira SUVs for lawmakers. Supreme Court justices down by one as Musa Dantijo bows out. Supreme Court justices down by one as Musa Dantijo bows out. Terrorists attack customs house, kill officer in Yobe. Atiku's aide tackles Tinubu over forgery allegation. From The Guardian, next paper on our menu is The Nation. Nation leads with Adun. Tinubu's homegrown plan good to revive economy. Edun, that is the Minister of Finance, Tinubu's homegrown plan grew to revive economy. There is no likelihood of Nigeria seeking international assistance on debt restructuring. Emergency economic bill targets tax reform, job creation orders. Emergency economic bill targets tax reform, job creation orders. Supreme Court justices drop to 10. Hearing of presidential poll verdict holds today. We have the photo caption on The Nation is a picture of the NDLEA who arrested a Paris-bound businessman who excreted 93 wraps of heroin yesterday, because that's the picture. And the Nation titled it Caught in the Act. From that, we move above the stories above the masthead. We move to the stories above the masthead. Just beneath the masthead, we have state-owned old pensioners 1 trillion naira. No assassination attempt on me, says Bello. Of course, it was a trendy story over the weekend that there was an assassination attempt on the Kogi State Governor Yahya Bello. But Yahya Bello, in reply, says no assassination attempt on me. And for the stories above the masthead, fake Nadeco plots, anti-Tinubu campaign. Fake Nadeco plots, anti-Tinubu campaign. US APC raises alarm. FCTA to allottees pay 21 billion naira rent or lose lands. Why we can't return to sites by federal road contractors. Appeal Court voice Senate minority leaders victory. And just on the strip of the paper down, we have EU Netherlands pledge support to Nigeria on job creation, poverty reduction. And of course, with that, we've come to the end of the review of The Nation as we move over to Daily Sun. Daily Sun says anxiety as Supreme Court sees on Atiku Obi's appeals. Anxiety as Supreme Court sits on Atiku Obi's appeals. Number of justices reduces to 10 as Justice Musa Datijo bows out October 27. APM seeks dismissal of Tinubu Shettima's objections to petition. Contractors kick over federal government's order to return to site, insist on payment contract review. Kogi Governor Bello escapes assassination, accuses men in military uniform. Although previous papers said there was no assassination attempt on him, according to the governor of the state. Imo Guba, Southeast PDP vows to deliver Anyanwu. Nominates Ude Okoye as new national secretary. Appeal Court sacks my senior minority leader, orders rerun. Israel-Hamas conflict, US uneasy over high-risk attacks on interests in Middle East as Israeli airstrikes clashes on Lebanon border escalates. Nat Nkata Indi Iyom Igbo 2023 annual conference. Okay, hosting Igbo. Meanwhile, Imo government rejects election prediction by witches, says Uzodinma will win. The story continues on page 115 of Daily Sun. And just beside the masthead of Daily Sun, we have Leave Wike alone. Pandev wants Gumi, others. I didn't take sides with Israelis against Palestinians, FCT minister. For more on that, other headline stories on Daily Sun today, October 23, 2023. Log on to the website of Daily Sun, www.sunnynewsonline.com. Our next port of call is THISDAY. THISDAY leads with a story. Obasanjo, Nigeria can overcome forest crisis by exploring non-oil exports. Obasanjo, former president of Nigeria. Nigeria can overcome forest crisis by exploring non-oil exports. Orama says AFCFTA has capacity to unlock $3 trillion GDP for Africa. Review plan to pay 500 million naira fine for inmates. Falana advises Tunji Ojo. Supreme Court bench depletes further as hearing presidential Guba appeals starts today. Supreme Court bench depletes further as hearing in presidential Buba appeal starts today. Article: I didn't falsify name. Lagos court worked on Saturdays in 1970s. The story continues on page 41 of This Day. US seeks increased investments to develop young Nigerians' talents. Candidates' nomination can be contested as pre-election, post-election appeal court rules. Nullify Senate minority leaders' election. Candidates' nomination can be contested as pre-election, post-election appeal court rules. Nullify Senate minority leaders' election. And from This Day, we move over to our sister publication, National Economy. National Economy this week leads with Nigeria's auto policy. Much talk, little action. Foreign investors shy away from Nigeria. I will take that again. Nigeria's auto policy. Much talk, little action. Foreign investors shy away from Nigeria. And beneath that, we have when a fintech startup dies, what dies in you? Unlocking Africa's economic prosperity through local content implementation. Nigeria's collective drive to redefine crude production standards. And of course, for the editorial of National Economy, says Nigeria's growing debt burden. Nigeria's growing debt burden. That is the editorial on National Economy this week. For more on that, continuation of headline stories and other news items inside the paper, log on to the website of National Economy, www.nationaleconomy.com. And with that, we've come to the end of the first segment of the program, where we just review some headline stories of some select newspapers. My name is Winifred Gwebo, and for the second part, we have our normal, usual Monday guest already in the house, Dr. Aliu Elias. Don't go away. He's a political economist. Stay tuned.
Be part of our brand. Be part of our brand. Leadership for God and country. Be part of our brand. Leadership for God and country. Be part of our brand. Leadership for God and country. Be part of our brand.
Show where we review and discuss front headline stories on some select newspapers, including Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership. My name is Winifred Ugbebo, and as you can see, I have with me in the studio my Monday guest. Is a political economist, is a PhD, has a PhD in political economics, and of course public affairs analyst, Dr. Ali Elias.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
It's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you, man.
You do that, Susha. How was your weekend?
Very fine. Though stressful. It was a jolly weekend.
Thank you so much. Now, without wasting much time, we are looking at zeroing in on the headline story on the Guardian today. Guardian says at 1,200 naira to a dollar, 985 naira per liter. Fuel spike squeezes air travel pricing. What is happening? We thought, at the time, we think that we've seen it all. and keep getting surprises every day now on the state of the economy. What is the way out? What is the way out? Can Nigerians now actually afford to buy fuel for 985 naira per liter?
Well, first and foremost, when I was going through the newspaper today, I saw one editorial, and the editorial says, "Where is federal government? Where is Tinubu administration?" Now, we can see that things are not going well at all. If we can be, fuel can be as high as this price, and we know that, like we said, the only subsidy a poor man gets is this. And once you increase fuel, it's have a multiplier effects that affects everything. So, and the result is here now. And like we normally say, whenever we have put us on your show here, that federal government cannot make do with these two policies. First, subsidy removal, naira floating. These two things cannot work at this time. At least one
has to go.
So if not, now the first subsidy remover has affected everything. And you also need dollar to balance everything. You remove the control on the dollar and show me a
knowing
country
full well that you are still importing.
So definitely we are in a fix. I don't know how. In fact, someone just predicted that dollar might be 2,000 naira before Christmas. Even mentioned Christmas, because that period also have its own demand as well. So it's a big issue. I think.
I think if we are to use the elementary economics, it may come down, because December period, because we have a section of the country whereby during December period there's diasporans actually come home
now,
and they come home with
it even was than then, because you know why? The remittance, the diaspora remittance is expected even by now to pushing the dollar down, because we expect them to also be remitting. So where is it now? Perhaps most of them will not even come. They will prefer to send that money to do business. So they will now there will be much more demand for dollar, because everybody is taking advantage. Let me ask you, Madam Wilfred, if you are in UK or in US by now, you're not going to be doing business in Nigeria.
Yes,
I'm not going to be sending dollar to
more, because my people are going to have
value.
So much more for value for it, and
value,
that's what happens. But I'm expecting that at least when we have much of these dollars or foreign exchange coming in,
begging the federal government is that let our refinery come on board.
But
and if you actually come on board, my question is this now: are they going to sell to us in the local
But there was
price?
a report a paper carried last week that we even reviewed here, that they said that December is unrealistic, given the fact that the Port Harcourt refinery, some parts are mismatched. They cannot fix it.
Well, the fact remains that we wouldn't want government to give us. Let's have a cautious optimism that the federal government is going to do something, because Nigeria do not want to hear that again. You know, it takes NLC to even ask Tinubu before he now said by December to come on board, because the hardship is getting too much. Madam, I went to Niger State. You need to see how people are struggling to survive. Things are becoming much more difficult. This is not Nigeria we know. In fact, some are even saying that it's appear Buhari government is beginning to be preferable compared to Tinubu because of this. Because if you are bringing up a policy, the gestation period, now 4 months has gone, you've never really see, you want a equilibrium. Willing buyer, willing seller. And willing buyer, willing seller, instead of controlling the price down, it is going up. Now, you also talk about fuel subsidy removal. We expect at least to have it stable for some time. Now, at this level, so now subsidy is back. That's the meaning.
Yes, that is what leadership in Nigeria's most influential news also said in his business story. He said, despite subsidy removal, oil revenue drops by 1.01 trillion in July. Now, what is the way out? Because federal government will say that many people, critics, economists, and political economists like you say that you cannot allow market forces to determine this thing, and which is what the federal government is doing. I mean, is it right?
Well, as an economist, I would like to tell you that basic economy teaches us that demand and supply is good. But whereby the supply is suffering, what happens? When supply is suffering, price will go up. So we have problem of supply. Why is it that it's only federal government that will be importing? Why? On what ground? It's because of dollar. You know why? Those other people,
marketers,
they don't have the dollar money to go and ask for it. And it's because of removal, it's because of floating of naira. No, because if you don't float naira, they will now have the courage. Now you have removed subsidy, fine.
Yes.
So now they have to like go with the normal currency. Maybe imagine if there's no fuel, if this subsidy removal sustain and people are still getting dollar at 450, 500.
500.
Do you see that it will be balanced?
Yes.
So, but Nigeria, the government bring two variables, two negative.
But yeah, the federal government is
variables.
denying that there's no, is no subsidy is not back. But how true it is, because many people are of the opinion that no, there's no way the federal government could have sustained the 613
So
naira per
on what
litre that
ground?
it has been said.
On what ground is NNPC the only importer?
Because just like
On
what
what
you said,
ground?
and
And
on
they have
what
to
ground
go borrow
too,
money to affix them back.
exactly
So,
$3 million.
that's
So
another
what
thing.
was that for, if not for
If
subsidizing?
subsidy, perhaps he even has to go and seek for Tinubu approval before he can go ahead. So what is that? That's subsidy. So, and this is what we need to look at.
And don't forget, even during the first years of
So that means-
Buhari's administration, he told us that it was not subsidy, that it
And
was
later-
under recovery. But at the end of the day, we later
It
saw
appeared.
we could not.
So the fact is just that the federal governments are not getting this economic right. So they need to go back to the draw line and see one of them that they will let go. It's not possible. If people that want to import, they also need dollar, and dollar is about 1,200, and you have removed first subsidy. So it's a counterproductive policy that need to review. The solution is, remember, Buhari even reversed
Yes,
when
he
he
did,
did
he
that.
did.
So now you are paying subsidy from the back door, and very soon it will come to limelight because you won't have way to escape it. That's because now it simply means that you are cushioning the cost of importation already, because you are not the one to distribute. You still give it to local to distribute. So you are importing. So why are you the sole? It's because others do not have the power, the capacity. So you are using government money to import it and selling it at a lower price. That is subsidy.
That is subsidy. Thank you so much. And from that, we'll move over to leadership leading story. Is an exclusive, actually. It says 3 months after student loan scheme yet to take off. I remember this was one of the first few bills or law, law that the bill that the president Buhari, Tinubu signed on assumption of office, and leadership says 3 months after student loan scheme yet to take off. Of course, there were so many criticism too that trade the signing of the student loan scheme, because many people say that considering the bottlenecks that were put in place, conditions, that it's been difficult to access this loan. And unknown to many that it has actually signing of this student loan into bill into law actually guarantees that federal state universities have to pay more.
Well,
their school fees will have to be reviewed.
The fact is just that,
in other words, there's no subsidy again for
that's the problem that we're having in Nigeria. You bring up a policy that is not even implementable, because I say it's not implementable because of the condition around it. You said a family must get if they get above a particular amount in this era, they cannot benefit. You said we must bring a lawyer. We must bring a lawyer that have post 10 years experience. So we must have a shorty as a civil servant that must be a director at that level. So those conditions are not easy, and you want to give it to 2 million Nigerians. Now, also, you have also told us where you are going to generate the money. So now you are good at pronouncing policy, but implementation is a problem. You can see up to now it has not been implemented. So I even expect them to take this bill back to National Assembly and they review it totally. Maybe because it's Bajabi Amila that actually bring about the bill. That's why it's pushing, but it's not realistic. And we have increased tertiary institution money so much that, in fact, someone told me that before they used to support some families for university. Say they cannot even support now, simply because even they cannot solve their problem because of the subsidy removal. How would they even support? And now you see increase the school fee. So that means it's a metaphor for discouraging Nigerians from going to school. We cannot access it, and school fees is not affordable. What's the problem?
So, but what do you think is delaying the student loan scheme from taking off? Because President Tinubu supposed to have, as he said, he was going to have sent it to the National Assembly for review.
Well, I think the major problem, the two problems that will be is that the bill is not well thought of. So there's a lot of bottleneck. And also fund is another problem, because they say they will get 1% from custom. There's a way they analyze how they will get the money. I think those are the two, because if you want to do such thing, there must be fund.
And the ASU, on the other hand, is also raising hues and cry that this is not what they were bargaining for. I said, well, the fact
just remains that there may be public hearing before this bill. But I think it's not about public hearing. At the inception, at the conceptualization of the idea, they're supposed to bring academics, bring them, because they saw how things. Because now even this money is only for tuition fee. Remember, I live must go. That was the problem. Their own was even holistic. This one is not holistic. Remember, it's only to cover your tuition fee. So remember that tuition fee is not even a problem most time.
Yes.
The accommodation, the feeding, and a lot of things. The transportation itself, especially this period. And he said it will be around 500,000 to 650,000. So if you look at this amount, even in a year, it may be difficult to even pay the school fees and other running. So now you must do this student loan beyond only fee. You have to look at it holistically so that it will be something that the Nigerian will appreciate over time.
Thank you so much. Now, another thing that story that is generating so much heated debate and criticism is the issue of our lawmakers purchase of 57 billion naira SUVs, and why many people say that it's crass insensitivity given the face of hunger and hardship in the land. But others say that they are lawmakers, you can't expect them to at least give them the best means of comfort in order to legislate well for the nation. What's your view on
Well,
that?
the fact just means that I agree that they need some level of comfort, and they need vehicle to run around. Perhaps they're also under the whims and caprices of the executive. When they want to do oversight, they have to call the person they want to check. Imagine you want to go and check a ministry, you're not telling the ministry to provide vehicle for you, which it does not go. But the fact just means that at this point in time, why not purchase locally? Why not tell Innocent to give you a good SUV that will not be amount to 160 million per one? Do you know how much 160 million can, even them, the money they will give them for their constituency in a year is up to 160 million in a year? So these are the challenges, these are the reality that I want them to see. Perhaps you can go for SUV of 70, 80 million.
Perhaps, who knows, maybe Nancy does not have that much for the number of lawmakers.
It's called for production. I'm sure in 6 months it can deliver it to them, because it's about production. So they should have given that benefit of doubt. It will also come to them that yes, it will be a case on their part that they cannot afford.
Going back, many thought that Buhari's body, how do you call it?
Body language
would have been able to, sway these lawmakers during especially when he newly came in as president. If he couldn't do that, so why are people Nigerians expecting that this new crop of lawmakers are going to also just adapt to
the reality on ground really deserve them to rethink that policy. Perhaps we have people from Labour Party who converse with from their leader of no shishi. They should have looked at it and say, we want something within 50 million. They are about 30 something. It's a voice. Okay. So, but now you see that once they get there, they have crossed the Rubicon. And they now belong to another set of
and their voice has
collapsed.
They have remained silent. So, but what is the way out? Where is the way out? Because in every new administration, Nigerians keep lamenting about the amounts being expended.
Our problem is their sensitivity to the reality on ground. When you see something that a country is in their need, we are in serious challenge, and we are not doing something that we really help the sensitivity of people. It is this period we want to really mark 160 million naira. That's about 57 billion.
Yes, 57 billion.
Though the fact just means that this president, if care is not taken, is very smart at dealing with every issue. Look at the way he just said they should pay lecturers their 8 months and what have you. So maybe if you see that you are making noise too much, they find way of
yes, he has a way of dealing with issues
so
like that.
Labour is now talking. They'll say, Labour, don't talk. We are gotten our 8 months.
Like the chairman of FEMA that he actually also removed.
No, for me, I want to say Tinubu. It appears he listen.
Yes.
Listen to public outcry, but it's not only him that can lead it. We need National Assembly to also listen. If they actually listen to us, we would have rethink and say maybe they share 30 million and let's buy 100 million vehicle. It's something. Just work to the sensitivity of work with people's intuition, because people are worried. Things are difficult for people that are collecting 30,000 naira at minimum wage. I don't know how they are going to survive in this economy. A money that cannot even have bag of rice, let alone other sundry issues that need to make that
transportation and everything.
So it's a big issue.
So, in your view, so the National Assembly has to listen to
They
voice
have
of
to
reason.
adjust, and because time will come, people will not revote against the president again. They will revote against the National Assembly. That's the problem.
And in his own view, or former President Olusegun Obasanjo is saying that Nigeria can overcome forest crisis by exploring non-oil exports. Now, how do you explore non-oil exports when the economy is talking about energy, which is crucial to have it for manufacturing, is not virtually non-existent? That's collapsed.
You see, energy security remains the most important thing that Nigeria must look at. When you don't give energy security to your country, it simply means you are leaving them to go to sale, and that's the problem. So the challenge now is that we have energy costs, which is in terms of electricity. We have fuel. Everything is just coming together. But
Diesel.
like Buhari actually did that time. Buhari actually worked on farming, right? He tried to say rice farmer, take and call borrowers and whatever. Tinubu has also seen reasons that this we must diversify, and that's why he's bringing up blue economy, which is a fantastic one. And you're also working on mining. Where I would think that we're in this studio saying that well, it's a misfit to put Dele Alake in mining, but we think with their thinking, we hope that in 6 months time it will govern. And he said he will have a mining corporation. So we're hoping by the time they have it, we can really get a country like South Africa. They get a lot of income from mining. So I think if we can really diversify, perhaps over time now, oil is becoming what every country is having now. So we must look at every other way of making money. We have natural resources that we can use to galvanize and get
Why
money.
are state governments not championing that instead of coming to fact every quarter to collect revenue?
Our subnationals becomes our problem. They are the major problem we have, subnationals, because they are not looking at how Nigeria can be better. They are only looking at that central allocation they are coming to collect. So anything that would deny them that allocation, because I expect them to be the one canvassing for how we can get more revenue, and they should also think inward, generate internal revenue. All this mining, tell government, let's partner with you so that we know it's federal government. Partner with federal government because it will generate employment. You get taxes, you get more income. Your citizen will be busy. A lot of things, a lot of benefits. You engage them, but they are not talking at all. So I hope someday they will have to think about that. There are 36 of them need to think about that.
Thank you so much. And last and not the least is the another leading story on some select newspapers too. In fact, virtually in all the papers, presidential torso, anxiety as Tinubu, Atiku, Obi, APM resume battle at Supreme Court. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court justices has dropped
reduces
to
10. Even that
What
10, you can only
have?
take 7.
Okay, you can only take
Take
7.
7. So the fact is just that anyway, today case is hearing. Because people saying it's like a judgment, judgment day.
Many people don't seem to understand what's all
It's
about.
a hearing, but they have to give the judgment before 6th November, right?
November or December?
November is November 6th, I think. So it's very, very.
But I thought
clear.
it was for 2 months.
I think
The
it's
hearing
November
it
6th.
spans 2 months.
What I
60
read
days.
last was November. So, but let's wait what really happened today. The question is that would they admit the new case? That is even the
That's
main
the
case.
crucial one.
That's the crucial case. But from the feelers around, they said no. But let's see. Let's not preempt the judges. Let's see what will actually happen. Perhaps it's a good one, like before the swearing in of president, because there is a lot of influence, which is natural.
Yes.
And they also say maybe the chief judge. I think we have to change their pattern. Maybe every state should have its own Supreme Court, so that it will go. Because if you only have 10 people,
yes, they
proposal like that. So if you have only 10 people, that means a case that you bring today to Supreme Court, you should know that it's next 3 years that you get judged, because it's on queue. You understand? So that means that even the reduction in them now simply means that a case that is supposed to be handled by that person, that's more year. Imagine a justice delay is justice denied. So I think we need to do something different in this country to make sure that we have availability of judges at the right time. We should expand it. Perhaps we also have to.
We are also actually calling for restructuring.
Only the most restructure that and make sure we have more. Perhaps remember now that INEC has lost it in terms of declaring the winner. Because when I like declaring the winner, we are also waiting for
the court
to also
we are
deny
seeing
that.
situation whereby court is the one now.
So please, they
declaring
should
winners.
find way of unbundle INEC itself.
Yes,
And
like the
also,
former INEC chair said the president should
yes,
not
said
be
so.
the one nominating chair.
That's
What do
another
you see that?
critical issues. Though he has benefited from the president's
That's what
nomination.
that's exactly what I had to say.
But now,
I mean, I said him that has benefited. Now he's not coming
he's
to
not
say
calling
no.
for.
The president
But I
should
don't
not
think
nominate.
our National Assembly have that. How do we call it? That got to actually establish that, because it's their responsibility.
But I think
They have to change the constitution
maybe
for that.
a committee, human rights, CSOs.
Should canvas for it,
It
right?
should be
Canvas.
maybe a board should be set up like that. They should be the one, like mostly.
Well, the fact is that even though
Even members of the society, because all these politicians, when they do, or they will know somebody who knows maybe the
that's why
INEC chair. That you understand?
it's not as simple as bringing all the case to Abuja. It's not because of people that have influence.
That
But the fact just means that we just have to adjust a lot of things, and that's why.
But how are we going to have a better Nigeria? Because with all what knows that we are talking about, we keep talking. We can talk from morning till night. But the situation remains the same.
We can have a better Nigeria. We can have a better Nigeria if we have good structure and good system. A system that is much more, more than people. Like a president. If you have a system that is more than the president,
how come people that even before they assume that position, they are even better? But once they assume that position, they sink into what they
lot of
like.
forces.
Like for instance, there were news items that leaked, but I don't know how it's true, that the former EFCC chair, was alleged to have about 500.
In fact, when I read it, I saw it about 560 million naira. I was imagining that. How does it?
Yes.
What's the system? How does it really bring about this money? And that shows that everybody that gets into that place, they see it as
it says full of corruption. Exactly. They themselves
they sink into it, and that's
what
the
can be done.
I think it's the system.
We keep talking about system or institution, building strong institutions, but at the end of the day, people with this institution has not helped.
No, if you look at it very well, you know that Bala was influenced by some people to become the EFCC, right? So also this person also, you see a lot of brouhaha around him that is president, as example. So people, naturally, we are not in the Western world whereby people stay with what they say and they want to know by that. Everything is being influenced. Someone will be controlling someone that do this, do that, and at the end of the day, he also gets his own court. So these are the problems.
We also saw how
was it
not meant to that accused him of
right, and he was in the office. He was even in the office, and he's accusing him, and he stood by it. Not that he stood by it. That yes,
that provide evidence.
So it's a big problem. So imagine at that level of Matawali, if you can see that thing, we should know that there is an element of truth in those things. I pray we have a better system and it starts from the president and the in fact the three arm of government, because the executive, the legislature,
former president Buhari's body
at the beginning, right?
He lost it. He could not also do it because everybody saw him as incorruptible. He's staying in fight insecurity and all those.
No, the fact remains that Buhari as individual, even up to now, still have that. Up to now you cannot still trace anything, but he forgot that any subject under you, if they are corrupt, it has rubbish you too.
Yes,
and that's the problem. It has rubbish you too. So for him, he cannot even escape it. If we want to do thorough thing, if you call him very well, call power very well, you call president, and that's the problem. We have never had a situation where our president is called to account. Remember the president of South Africa? He was called to account and he was removed.
But did you also see a picture that trended to the former AGF, Accountant General for Idris? Right. That was said to have embezzled the 180 billion. He only returned 30 billion. Imagine. And he was not turbaned.
I don't understand, and that's the problem. Man. We celebrate those people that are very, very corrupt. And what are you telling the
And Bawa did not tell us the outcome of the investigation.
What even brought about Bawa's problem is that maybe he went to Saudi Arabia, he started living large.
That's what his family.
Exactly. It's not about you take your family. Why must you be in 5-star? Why must you be, spending, where did you get it? If you calculate your salary and everything, does it really give you this type of so that means somebody is saying go ahead, we'll do that expense and money. So how can you even have 560? How do they trace it? These are the things that you journalists want to also do. They should trace how those money will come about, who contribute to what, how does it, because that simply means he's also taking money from who he's supposed to grow.
Yes,
that's the meaning. Because Matawali has also come to attest to
and that is the one that came out to say, yes, you are chasing me around.
It's a big issue that we have I hope God will help us to solve it, because it's like it's beyond the president.
Okay, with all, like others now, you are resorting to prayers.
What do we do now when we have our president? People. There was this preacher who said, since we lost from Buhari, we shouldn't expect any miracle again, because Buhari is expected to have even solved.
Yes,
he has
most of these problems.
He has those posture. Everything. You came in and people started keeping money in a cesspool. People started keeping money, in a sink, and people started running out of the country. That's a good body language at the start. But he lost it. I don't know, maybe because of the sickness or whatever. I can't even say why. But he lost it at a point. So do you not expect a bourgeoisie like President Tinubu to do the miracle that President Buhari cannot do? It's pretty difficult.
It is difficult. Wow. What a sad takeaway from today's program, Inside Nigeria, which you on Leadership Television. With me, with me in the studio has been a political economist, the PhD holder, and the public affairs analyst, Dr. Ali Elias. Thank you so much. I always look forward to having you.
Thank you for having me.
And my name is Winifred Gwebo, to come your way again, same time, same station tomorrow. Here's wishing you a beautiful day. See you.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship that placements, please contact 036886115. Last word. Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Leadership TV for God and country.